Welcome to the Explainer. So, when you think about the 19th century, you probably think of the great industrialists, right? The titans who literally built the world we live in today. We often call them heroes, visionaries, but what if that's not the whole story? What if it's not even half of it? Yeah, when we talk about these guys, we usually get two very different labels, don't we? On one hand, you have captains of industry, these brilliant visionaries pushing society forward. But then you hear the other term, robber barons, ruthless tycoons building empires by exploiting, well, everyone else. So which is it? All right, let's get into it. And to do that, we gotta start with the story most of us already know. You know, the one you probably read in a history book. And this is that story, right? The one where these guys are the master architects of our modern economy. Their ambition, their genius, it's all celebrated. And look, it's a compelling narrative for sure. But here's the thing, it's just not the complete picture. But here's where things get really interesting. There's this incredible museum exhibit, and it's built around a recently discovered private family archive. And what it does is it just rips that shiny gilded facade right off. It forces us to look at what was going on, like, right outside their front doors. Okay, picture this. You walk into this exhibit, and laid out in front of you is a perfect miniature model of a 19th century city. I mean, the detail is just mind-blowing. You can see every single factory, every grand mansion, and then every crowded, tiny tenement building for the workers. It's beautiful, but it also kind of sets you up for a much darker reality. And that's really the whole point of the exhibit. It all comes down to this one word, vicinity. Just how close everything was. See, the story isn't just about the mansions and factories themselves. It's about what was standing right next to them. And once you see that proximity, man, your whole perspective just shifts. And that model just lays it all out. It's the core conflict in a nutshell. You have the industrialist world on one side, profit, innovation, these beautiful mansions. And then literally right across the street, you have the workers' world. We're talking poverty, dangerous conditions, basically no rights to speak of. Incredible wealth was being generated side by side with unimaginable hardship. So from the big picture model, we're going to zoom in. Let's go into the archives, because this is where the documents really start to tell the story on a much more personal and, frankly, a much more disturbing level. So we're shifting from a model to actual words on paper. These are excerpts from letters written by the workers and their families. And these, well, they're not just historical records, they're gut-wrenching. They talk about not having enough food, about the awful, dangerous conditions they faced every day. It's just a raw look at their constant struggle to survive. The human cost it's all right there. But then, right alongside those letters, the exhibit shows you this. It's a quote from a factory owner's private diary. And this is just chilling. He writes that he had to fight the urge to give in to his workers' demands, even though he knew they were starving. Let that sink in. He knew, and he chose not to act. That one sentence tells you everything you need to know about the priorities back then. So there you have it, side by side, the workers' letters begging for help and the owner's diary explaining why he chose to ignore them. And when you see that, the whole hero or villain thing just falls apart, doesn't it? How can you stick a simple label on that? You can't. And you start to think, maybe you're not supposed to. And that really gets to the heart of it. The exhibit doesn't give you a neat little conclusion. It doesn't tell you if they were good guys or bad guys, because honestly, history is rarely that simple. Instead, it leaves you with a challenge. The whole approach here is actually pretty straightforward. They're just putting the evidence right in front of you with no filter. You see the model city, you read the heartbreaking letters, you see the owner's cold calculation in his diary. They're trying to break down that simple, popular story and make you do the hard work of figuring out the messy, uncomfortable truth for yourself. And this, for me, is the real kicker. This isn't just some dusty old history lesson. The questions that were being fought over back then, they're the exact same questions we're still arguing about today. Things like fair wages, safe working conditions, the gap between the rich and the poor. Turn on the news. It's all still there. This debate is far from over. So that leaves us with one last big question, doesn't it? Do we really have to choose? Do we have to label these guys heroes or villains? Because maybe, just maybe, by trying to cram them into one of those neat little boxes, we miss the much bigger point. Maybe we end up ignoring the complicated, messy system they created, a system that in a lot of ways we're still living in today.